Bravest, inspiring others back at home. Now, here's one example. 5 men, all severely wounded in battle, were determined to climb North America's tallest peak, Mount McKinley in Alaska. At 20,000 feet, it is considered one of the coldest in the world. 4 of the veterans were wearing prosthetics, and 1 was also carrying a video camera and a laptop to record their journey. They called it the Denali Challenge, and here's their slogan. I love this. 5 wounded warriors, 4 good legs, 3 wars, 2 generations, 1 mountain, 1 big mountain.
It's a big mountain.
And joining me now is one of those intrepid climbers, retired Army Corporal Steve Martin. Okay, freezing cold. You were the one carrying the equipment, the photography equipment, and your own equipment that you had to have for the climb. How challenging was this?
It was challenging, especially since we had to weigh everything before we went on the mountain. My backpack weighed in at 42 pounds, and I carried another 48 pounds of gear on a sled that was tied to my backpack, so I'm pulling.
You're dragging that.
I'm dragging.
And these are some of your incredible pictures that we're looking at. These
it was
are
unbelievable.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
So the cold, it's freezing. I mean, you had to have been, it's icy, I'm assuming?
It is
so could
icy.
you have good foothold?
If the icy was actually better for us because we would wear what's called crampons, basically 2-inch spikes that strapped to our shoes.
Oh, so you just crunch them in the ice and help you?
It would. The hard part was walking on the fresh snow, or when there was as the day got warmer, because it gets really hot up on the glacier, believe it or not, and the snow starts to melt, you start losing traction.
Right. All right. Now, you did not expect to have the kind of wear and tear on your prosthetics because it's just pounding as you're climbing, right? That was something that caught you unaware?
I don't know if it caught us unaware. It was just we weren't sure what to expect.
Right.
We were all wearing different prosthetics. They're all actually fairly new and had never been tested up at that altitude and that temperature.
And some of the guys even had to bring kind of solar chargers because their legs needed to be charged.
The above-knee prosthetics that 3 of the other warriors wore they recharge them. There actually has a powered knee to help them get over terrain, and it helps with try to have a normal gait when they walk.
Good thing there was a lot of sunshine out there.
There was a lot of
sunshine.
Now I got sunburned.
You actually ran into an avalanche, right? So you had to look for those. Did you get some video? I think we have some video of
we did.
An avalanche that we may have played it already. This is a snowstorm, obviously. Oh, here's the avalanche. Okay, here we go.
This is our 2nd or 3rd day there. I think we're at probably about 11,000 feet, and you'd hear these all around you.
Oh.
But a lot of them are, the back sides of the other mountains, or you'd occasionally see a little bit. This was a big one.
Yeah.
On our 4th day there was an avalanche above us, well, where we were going, that actually killed 4 climbers.
Oh my.
1 survived and crawled out, and he actually walked past us. And we didn't understand.
You didn't realize he was in shock. Probably.
Yeah, he walked by us, just one single lone guy with no gear. We're like, well, who's the guy walking down the mountain by himself?
Survivor.
When he walked all the way from 11,000 feet down to the base camp, and when he went to get on the airplane, the people that run the air taxi were asking, "Where's the rest of your team?" Well, they're dead up at 11,000
Now,
feet.
you had snowstorms. You'd wake up and the place would be, 2 feet of snow on your
buried.
tents. What was it like? You were up there at the base camp 14 days waiting for the weather to clear so you could get to the top, and then realizing you weren't going to make it to the top and you had to come down.
The hard part was where we were most of the time, the weather was actually beautiful. It was really nice. It was the weather where we were trying to get to.
Right.
It was just horrible, 50 to 70 mile an hour winds.
But you didn't feel like that was a defeat. You had your adventure.
We did. We wanted to make it, obviously. Only 2 double amputees have ever stepped foot to some of that mountain. I really wanted to be the 3rd. It just wasn't going to happen, but I'm not done with Mount McKinley. I'll go back and make it.
You hurt yourself, though, coming down, right? And you had to go off in a sled, and it was right up against the edge, kind of scary?
A little bit. After we called off the climb, because the weather, it was just too dangerous to keep going. We were actually at an 800 vertical feet climb that we have to do on ropes with mechanical ascenders, and it was just going to be too dangerous. So the guide said, "We're done. We've waited 8 days to get to this point because we got stuck at 14,000 for 8 days waiting on a good weather day above us." And as the amputees, we decided to slide down the hill on our butts instead of walk, because we're actually slower going downhill than uphill. We can go uphill, no problem. Yeah. Going down is the problem with the prosthetics, no ankles. Yeah. So as we're sliding down the hill, the heel of my left boot kind of went down into a hole, and my leg kind of bent this way, and it hurt. The bone on carbon fiber wins.
Well, we have a bunch more we want to ask you,
Okay.
so we'd like you to stay through the break if you will.
Absolutely.
Okay, and for those of you who'd like in the commercial break to see a day-by-day account of their trip and some of these amazing photographs, just go to the Warfighter Sports website. That's warfightersports.org, and we'll be right back with more. We are back with Army Corporal Steve Martin, who was part of a group of wounded warriors who climbed Mount McKinley. Let's talk about how you were injured in Afghanistan in 2008. What happened?
In 2008, I went over actually with the State Department. I was out of the military. I went over to the State Department and was embedded back in an infantry unit as a police officer. And we were on our way down to work with some Afghans.
You were in a Humvee.
We were in a Humvee, and the Humvee ran over a command detonated ID. So someone pushed a button and blew us up. I have no memory of the explosion whatsoever. But in actuality, it was a bad day, but it turned out to be a good day because all four of us survived.
Right. And then your legs were injured, but you realized at some point in the rehab you were never going to walk again, and so you made that decision to tell the surgeon to cut them off. And you've never looked back, have you?
Never looked back. I tried for 14 months to save my legs, and they were just shattered. After about 9.5, 10 months, I was able to take a few steps. I was never going to go grocery shopping again without excruciating pain. I managed to get off all my meds, and I think it actually made it worse because I just hurt all the time.
Right.
And the decision was made that I had to do something. I actually spoke to another double amputee, been a double amputee for about 18 years, and
encouraged you to help you.
And he
well,
did.
Look at this. Now you're doing marathons. You've done triathlons.
Yep.
Why 5Ks? You're pushing yourself all the time. Why push yourself that hard?
It's that, or sit on the couch, get fat and diabetic and unhealthy, and just regret it. I'm 42. And I want to do as much as I can because I know eventually it'll just get too hard to do things like that, and I'll kind of have to go to a normal, I guess, life of,
Well, I've got to ask you this because what you're doing now isn't normal. What would you say to somebody who's facing this horrible obstacle in their life that they are so wrapped up in the dark they can't see the light?
I've talked to people like that. I've actually spoken to. I was put in contact with a gentleman one time that was severely wounded, and basically he was probably minutes away from ending his own life.
What did you tell him? What do you tell people like that? It gets better?
Come do something with me. Let's go do something together. Let's get off the couch. Let's come out of the dark. Let's do something and move forward. Take a chance. I mean, you have to do something, and he's doing very well.
Oh.
So it's actually a good story. We're actually we keep in close contact. I just spent an hour on the phone with a gentleman 2 days ago who just lost both legs, and my surgeon has put me in contact with people who are having problems. The guy went to physical therapist.
Now you're inspiring others.
I hope so. That's what I want to do. I want to inspire, motivate, and show people that I lost my legs. I don't care. I mean, I wish I hadn't lost them, obviously,
Right.
but nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to go forward.
We know nothing's going to stop you because you have plans to do the Grand Canyon, Mount Hood, Kilimanjaro, and he's going to go back and do Mount McKinley. So glad to have you here tonight. Thank you so much for coming.